Hello and welcome to episode 248 of the Casual Try Hard podcast. I'm Brian,
And I'm James.
and this week we're talking about clickbait.
Absolutely. Good way to put it.
We're talking about clickbait, baby.
In every sense of the term.
Yes. So, yeah. So if you want to reach out to us on Facebook, X gonna give it to you, or Discord, or email us. All those links are in the description below.
Yeah, make sure you hit us up and let us know what you think about clickbait.
Yeah.
Or feed us some clickbait.
Exactly.
If you want to support the show, there's a couple ways you can do that. The first is with our TCG player affiliate link, CasualTryHard.com/TCG. Follow that link on over to TCG player, and anything you purchase will help to support the show. We'd really appreciate it. Doesn't cost you guys anything and helps us pay our bills. By the way, did you cancel the SoundCloud?
I did cancel the SoundCloud. Okay. It should run out at the end of this month.
Okay.
I might still be able to post stuff, but I can just keep less there.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if I can still post stuff there. But
I hadn't heard any complaints about not posting to SoundCloud anymore, so I didn't see anything in the email. I didn't get any feedback anywhere else, so must not be that big a deal.
Yeah. And again, it's pretty easy to move somewhere else.
Right, yeah. I mean, there's bigger podcasting platforms that we are on. So the other way you can support us is directly through our Patreon, patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG. Sign up and chip a couple bucks in if you enjoy the content that we make and you want us to keep doing it. Help pay the rest of our hosting bills. Like I said, you can chip a couple bucks in, however much you feel like we're worth, and you get access to a couple special benefits. You get our show notes, so you get a sneak peek about what the show is going to be about that week. You also get access to about another hour's worth of content out of us in the form of our pre-show that is completely unscripted, unedited, everything. We don't even know what we're going to be talking about. It's just a conversation between two buddies. Sometimes it's about magic. Sometimes it's not. It's just us making sure our equipment's working correctly. But the patrons seem to really like it. So if you're interested in some more content out of us, that is one way you can get some more. And the third thing that Patreons get is givebacks. Every once in a while, I get cool stuff to send out to you guys. I try and do it roughly every other month. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's always super cool. I love seeing the photos that the patrons post on social media about the givebacks. Really makes me feel like it's worth it. I hope they feel like it's worth it too. If any of that sounds good to you, or if you just want to support the show, like I said, it's patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG. You can chip a couple bucks in. There's tiers there. They don't really matter. However much you feel like chipping in, we would really appreciate. So Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. All right. So, our plan for this week. So, you may or may not know, we've gone from a Monday record time to a Tuesday record time because my wife is overworked. And
I think everybody's overworked these days.
Yes, it would be better for her to be on Tuesday. So we were like, okay, that's fine. We're not going to do any show notes until they do the band announcement. So this was they've moved to a system of kind of an annual big band and then emergency bands in case formats are in a bad place.
Right.
And so there was, some anticipation of maybe things getting banned in Modern or Pioneer. And there was definitely I saw some different things on social media where some people were I think Andrea Maguchi's I wouldn't ban anything in Modern, it's great. And then other people were I think that maybe some scam cards should go, because apparently scam is 22% of the metagame according to Frank Karsten.
That's kind of wild that that deck took so long to catch on. Because when we did our set review episode for MH2, we specifically called out that deck, and it wasn't a thing for quite a while after that.
I think we talked about it with Ephemerate or other flicker effects.
No, we talked about it with the Undying stuff, because I went out and bought foil copies of all the All the old
Oh, yeah.
Undying cards.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, and like, I think it even took a while after Fable. But no,
Yeah.
Fable's not usually in that deck. Like, that was kind of the PT innovation was like Fable
Yeah.
over Young Pyromancer. But yeah, like, it is weird that like we looked at them like, this is dumb. Like, you're gonna lose every game that you get double thought seized on
Mm-hmm.
turn one. Like, literally every game you're gonna lose it. And pretty much that's what happens. Like, they just have a draw where they're like, double thought sees you. Or
Yeah.
like, here's a 5 mana now 4/4 double striker that you can't fatal push.
Right.
You're on a 3-turn clock. Good luck.
Good luck.
And you're just like, tap land go. Oh, I'm dead. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I had to fetch and you had a bolt. I'm on a 2-turn clock. Oh, I'm just dead before I get to have my 3rd turn. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is wild. So, and then there was also talk about like, maybe Karn should go from Pioneer,
Mhm.
since it is like kind of a miserable experience.
Yeah, I can see that.
And like mono green. So I was at work, forget what I was doing, and I was like, crap, like I haven't like checked Twitter today or anything. I wonder what the ban announcement was. So I like Google like, Magic ban 2023, and it like autofills. I'm like, excellent. I click on it, click the link, and it just says there are no changes in any format. And then he goes, but hey, we're making an announcement about a new booster product. So like, it's like they knew that like a large portion of the Magic community was going to go check the ban
Right.
announcement, and I guess it was better than like just leaving your homework totally blank to put some non-related nonsense on it, right? Because like if it wouldn't have been for that like extra paragraph about like, hey, we're doing like
Yeah.
new booster stuff, it would have just been one line. There are no changes.
Yeah, I mean,
There are no changes.
like
Here's the link to the ban list.
that would have been like a reasonable thing though. Like there have been plenty of ban announcements that were no changes, and that was the end of the ban announcement. And like you said, this was an emergency ban or quote emergency banned window. So really, I don't think as though like as there's certainly people that wanted to see changes, but I don't know how many people actually expected to see changes in this window.
Yeah, like I guess I don't. There's nothing that really raises to the level of quote unquote emergency.
Right.
Right? I mean, there is the like, if in a format like Modern you have a deck that is 22% of the metagame,
Mhm.
that's pretty outsized.
Yeah.
And I feel like that has been used to justify bans in the past. I don't know if they were like quote unquote emergency bans,
Right.
but like I could see that argument of like, hey, this makes this is really not good. But I think the problem is, right, that like there's a lot of if scam is a 100, right, on the scale,
Mhm.
right, there's a lot of like 99s to like 95s,
Yeah.
right, and scam is just the current best, the current 100.
Right.
But like if you get rid of scam, something else is going to go to 100 and like the same thing's going to happen.
Mhm.
Right? There's not like, there's a lot of decks that are close. One thing's going to come up and be that deck that is 20% of the metagame again.
Yeah.
And so I see I watched a Doomwake video where you point out that we're in the middle of like a modern RCQ season. And apparently some people, he was like, will just go buy a deck for the RCQ season and play it. So like if you just went and bought a deck to play for your RCQ season, and then it gets banned halfway through, like maybe you're just done with Magic.
Well,
You say that, but no one's ever really done with Magic. But like I could see that where like if you went and spent like $1,500 on like scam, and then they were like, I don't know, we banned Grief. Like you're like, I don't have a deck anymore.
Mhm.
well, that sucks. We're like, we banned all the undying effects. We're gonna stop printing them. We banned them all. Now you have to splash white.
Yeah, I don't think
for
that's going to
ephemera.
happen because they keep printing better ones.
Yes, they just are like, can we make this better?
Yeah.
So, yeah, like I'm not surprised, but I just thought it was funny that they used the like hype around the like ban announcement to like be like, hey, let's shunt you over to us solving a problem that we created that was totally predictable.
Okay, hang on.
Okay.
Before we dive into feelings, we should talk about the facts.
Okay.
So what...
I mean, I feel as though I just stated a fact. That was basically this entire giant article.
I don't disagree with you, but we should talk about what the thing is before we start giving opinions.
So imagine, if you will, a draft booster and a set booster got drunk and made a baby.
Yeah.
We would call that a play booster.
And that's what was announced.
Yep. So basically, when they made the like 3 versions of booster packs, draft, set, and collector, they increase complexity for customers, both in terms of like which product is the one for me, right, and as we've often talked about, oh, that's a neat treatment of that card. Which of the like 3 different options will it appear in?
Yeah, at least 3.
It's like, oh, well, actually, that is a dual deck exclusive card. Dang it! I didn't even know we did those anymore. So you had this situation where they had these 3 choices that like confused people in the marketplace.
Yeah.
And seemingly, there ended up being a winner in the marketplace, and that was the set booster.
Yep.
So if given a choice, the pack cracking community picked set boosters over draft boosters.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. And when we covered Booster Fun initially, I think that was the conclusion that we came to also, was that if you're going to just crack a pack, there's no point in cracking a draft pack. You crack a set booster. That's where the most bang for your buck's going to be. I mean, whatever Wizards decides to spout out about as far as like exciting opening a pack, like sure, set boosters were, I guess, more exciting to open than draft boosters were. As far as like what you can do to the not being excited about opening the pack, not what the contents are. Does that make sense?
Yes, like
they have done everything they could to make the experience of opening the pack as good as possible without physically putting the exact card that you need for your collection in the pack.
Yeah, or like not changing the EV in such a way that like you are assured to come out neutral, break even, or plus. Right?
Yeah,
like,
I think that's something we're going to touch on after we break this down a little bit. But
you have a greater opportunity to open interesting cards, let's say, in a set booster than a draft booster.
Well, and like the cards that you're opening make sense too. They had that whole I forget what they called it, but where like the cards were clumped together. So like if you opened like when they did it in Kaldheim, if you opened like the giant pack, like your commons or uncommons or whatever were related to giants, and that was kind of cool. Especially for somebody that's not like has a super big collection or is super enfranchised, just for like somebody randomly opening a pack, stopping in their LGS, or somebody that plays casually, like that's kind of cool to open a pack and be like, oh yeah, look at this, there's like this guy is on this card and this card and this card. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean they did something a while back, like kind of pre-booster fun, where they had like the Theros packs, I think, or the Theros Beyond Death packs that were like a little seeded, where it was like, oh, like, yeah, maybe I'm wrong, but like, anyway, Yeah, like so there was some good with it.
Mhm.
But so one of the big issues is that set boosters had 12 cards.
Yeah.
So there was no way to put them into a regular draft environment. Let it be like, hey, we're out of uh, draft boosters
Right.
for this Friday Night Magic. We'll draft set boosters.
Well, so the other
Right.
problem isn't just that there's not enough cards, but the thing that I just said was kind of cool about opening a pack where you had like related cards next to each other. Like that doesn't work. You can't have that in draft. Like
Yeah, you
things
can't
have to
you
be
can't have
randomized. You can't like specifically collate cards.
yeah. So there were like a number of issues that made it so you could not draft them.
Yeah.
Um, I had to go find the. I lost it. I had to go find the. So speaking of not being able to draft them,
Mhm.
let's see here. There we go. So Mark Rosewater wrote the article that we are referring to,
That is true.
and
Facts.
he facts, and he said, and I quote, Mark Rosewater, the man who's been designing Magic cards since we were in college or before.
Since I was in high school, I think.
Yeah. I personally, on multiple occasions, have opened a booster to play limited only to realize I was accidentally opening a set booster.
Yeah, that's a problem.
So, yes. So, if the guy who designs the cards doesn't know what booster he's opening,
Yeah.
that is probably not good for the general population. So,
Right.
we could kind of go through some of the problems that they get kind of listed. I'm gonna have to like read the things, but we could like hit the bullet points maybe. And we've kind of touched on some of them, right?
Mhm.
So the first problem with having two types of boosters is that set boosters were outselling draft boosters.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about why that's a problem a little bit?
Sure.
Um, Basically, like one of the things that I think Morrow had a tweet saying that the reason they're going to play boosters is because draft boosters were going to die.
Yes, the market forces were going to cause them to go away.
Yeah. And basically that means that they weren't selling, and Hasbro said, cut the losses, get rid of them. And this was what Wizards decided to do to make sure limited stayed playable.
Yeah, and I mean, also like if you are, if you're Chad, bro, 80% of our packs are set boosters.
Yeah.
Why are we making these draft boosters? The set boosters are more expensive. Get me more beans. Why
Yeah.
are we making these less beans packs, right? Right, you've got like it increases the amount, the complexity of you producing them.
Yeah.
If no one wants to have two options,
Well,
then like why are you making two options?
to go back to the complexity thing real quick, another one of the, I don't remember if it was in this article or in a tweet, but another one of the things they said, kind of going back to your thing with Rosewater and opening the wrong pack, is that they were having a lot of complaints from stores and distributors who ordered product and either ordered the wrong product or got sent the wrong product because
That'd be problem number two. It causes inventory problem.
yeah.
So
Well, and really that's only part of the inventory problem.
yeah, so there's two inventory problems, right? Which one is we get the wrong thing,
Yeah.
and then like as a like store, you kind of have to roll the dice and be like, how many set boosters do I order? How many draft boosters do I order? And am I gonna get stuck with one of them on the shelves?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Oh, I didn't order enough set boosters, and now I'm out, but no
Yeah.
one wants to buy my draft boosters. Or I didn't order enough draft boosters, and now I can't fire drafts.
Right.
Right? So you have this weird thing where, like, yes, they can send you the wrong thing because now there's two things for them to send you.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could order, SKU 001 instead of 002.
Or 0001.
Yeah. Right? And you're like, I ordered the wrong thing. This sucks.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, oh, I guessed wrong.
Right.
I ordered the wrong thing. And, they point out, and I know we have seen this, as like, right, you order your whatever, what do we know? Wilds of Eldraine.
Mm-hmm.
And as an LGS, you hope to make a profit on it,
Right.
and then you take that money and you use it to buy Caverns of Ixalan,
Mm-hmm. Ravnica
right?
remastered, or no, I guess Caverns is next, then
Yeah,
Ravnica. Yeah.
yeah. And um, if you're getting stuck with a bunch of product at the wild step,
Mm-hmm.
now you don't have the money to order the next thing.
Yep. Less capital to roll into fresh inventory.
Yeah, so you're just like you're constantly, and then God forbid you order the wrong thing, or
Mm-hmm.
Caverns of Ixalan sucks, and now you're stuck with another product that doesn't move. You're like, oh man, I should have ordered more draft boosters because this is a really good draft format and that's all anyone wants to do.
Yeah.
Or, oh man, the draft is awful. I should have ordered more set boosters so people want to crack those.
Mm-hmm. Or the set
Right?
was just Crimson Vow and nobody wanted it.
Yeah. Any number of things, right?
Yep.
So it just like having two options just kind of increases the risk for stores.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The next thing is it began the abandonment of draft boosters. Like this should like I assume they have smart people that like got MBAs and stuff that are like working on the business side.
No, dude, they're all
And
interns.
apparently, yeah, really, bro, bring me another intern. If he dies, he dies. It's like, dude, why are you Ivan Drago all of a sudden?
Keep them coming.
Yeah. Bro, I will work him. And if he dies, he dies. So, like, this makes perfect sense. You provide two options in the market.
Mm-hmm.
And you specifically say, hey, one of these options is better than the other.
Right.
Like, one has a narrow use case of draft, and one has one is the one you open to get cards.
Well, not only did they tell you which one was better and how to use them, but they also, at the same time, flat out told you not to buy the other one. Do not buy products you don't want. If this product isn't for you, don't buy it.
Yeah, so like if you're not drafting and it says draft right on the pack,
yeah,
you buy the other thing.
Like that was in one of Blake's streams, I think, where he said,
yes,
do not buy it. If you don't want it, don't buy it.
It was I think one it may have been Magic Anniversary or something.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, where they were like, hey, like this product like but that might have been more pointed, but they also had the like, this product might not be for you phase of like Wizards. So right, so they were running into the fact that they weren't able to move draft boosters. And again, from like the Chad Bean counterpoint of view, okay, get rid of the thing that doesn't sell.
Right.
Streamline my production line.
Well, so that was the other part, and I think this was in the article about streamlining production, is they said that there were certain markets where they couldn't produce both packs in both languages.
Mm-hmm.
So they would have to pick one. And obviously you're going to pick the one that sells better and makes you more money. So that's the one that you print, which meant like there were entire portions of the globe that did not get draft boosters.
And there's also the flip side of that. Apparently in Brazil, this is like again from a PK video.
Mm-hmm.
In Brazil, they never got set boosters. They only ever got draft boosters. They had no way to get set boosters. So yeah, like they just weren't able to like do both.
Yeah.
So some places got Magic like it was 1997.
Mm-hmm.
And some places like the US got Magic like it was 2023.
Yeah.
And then some places got Magic like it was 2024.
Or
where they only got set boosters.
1994 and limited wasn't a thing.
Fair, yeah. Only cracking packs, baby.
And there were 4 lands per pack.
Yeah. And then we already talked about the confusion it caused. We do a podcast and try to follow the news, and like there are multiple times where like I don't know what's in what pack.
Right.
And then like Jim Davis was like, could you imagine grandma going into a store and going like, I want a pack of the new Magic set for my grandson.
Right.
And then going draft booster, set booster, or collector booster, and her just going, like blank face, like
Gift
1,000
bundle,
yard stare.
holiday bundle, bundle.
I'll buy a Pokemon pack.
Yeah, exactly.
And they just hand her the only option for a Pokemon pack.
Right.
And she leaves with her Pokemon pack. Yeah, so like, even like going to like, Target, like what's funny is I don't know if they sell individual draft boosters. They sell draft packs.
Yeah, the clumps of 3.
Yeah, like who is like do you have 8 friends that you could be like go to Target and buy a draft pack and then come to my house and we will draft this set?
No.
No. If some of you have 8 friends and those 8 friends also happen to play Magic, congratulations. Like, but like we're in our 40s. We have like 3 friends total. Right? Like,
and one of them lives with me.
Exactly. Married to one of them, contractually obligated.
Yeah.
Doesn't play Magic, so not possible.
Correct.
She would go buy a draft pack, but then be like, ew, yours. But yeah, so not great. And then problem 5, which is kind of related to problem 3, it makes some Magic boosters less desirable. That was the entire point of designing the product set boosters.
Right.
Was to make draft boosters less desirable unless you were drafting.
Well, no. The point was to make a booster pack that was more fun to open than a draft booster, which has the side effect of making it more desirable than a draft booster, which is the same thing as the draft booster being less desirable than the set booster.
Yeah.
They like this is one of their designing principles. I don't know how somebody didn't like know this. Like there have been multiple articles about limited written and set design that specifically state that in order for some cards to be good, other cards have to be bad. You can't have a set full of every single rare in the set is a banger, because then it's not exciting because everything is good.
Yeah, and like so for set boosters to be good,
right,
draft boosters have to be bad. Exactly. And then collector boosters are just too expensive for anyone to like seriously buy.
Right.
Collector boosters are the I was drunk and bought stuff on Amazon purchase. Like what have I done? Or my wife wants to buy me a Magic pack and she buys me a collector booster, and then when I open the giant box it comes in and there's one pack, she's like, there was only one pack in there?
Yeah.
It's like, yes, there's only one pack.
Yeah.
And then she feels like she got taken.
Right.
Bro, we got her beans.
Yeah.
Bro, we took her beans. She was taken.
No more beans for you.
Right. And then again, a thing that I feel like was a like thing that they designed into the whole like ecosystem of booster fun is every booster BioWare wasn't getting all the cool stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we should take a minute and just reiterate the fact that all of these problems are self-inflicted.
Yes.
Like there was nothing wrong with the packs that we used to have. Even if they did like they did with Throne of Eldraine, where you had collector boosters and draft boosters, like that is still leaps and bounds better than like what they ended up with that they then had to fix. Like they're fixing a problem that didn't need to be fixed because it wasn't a problem.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like the concept of having a single booster.
Yeah.
Initiated in 1993.
Right.
And was chugging along perfectly fine until 2021.
Yeah. Ikoria?
I guess.
Oh no, Ikoria wasn't set boosters.
Somewhere in there, like 2020,
but
like
Zendikar
Rising, maybe.
Yeah, I think Zendikar Rising was the first set booster.
Or like you could even say like Throne where they like started the collector booster, right? We were cool with a booster.
Right.
Right. And then they were like, let's do 2. And they're like, well, 2 is working well, let's do 3.
Yeah.
But no, it just feels like it was like a cash grab.
Mm-hmm.
And they were realizing, and then
I
they
think
look
everything's
back
a
and
cash grab lately. Every
like,
single
wow.
decision they make is a cash grab.
Like, wow, we grabbed so much cash that we may kill a like valuable portion of our player base in game.
I mean, kind of like they did with Commander. Like, they push Commander to the point where every other format has fallen off a cliff. They have a whole council on how to like make Standard happen again because they killed it so bad.
Yes, very true. So they're not new to the accidentally killing something.
Yeah.
So and then so not every booster row is getting the cool stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that's on you. Like, you get to pick what's in the packs.
Right.
Right. You could have been like, every draft booster gets a foil.
Mm-hmm.
Or it gets, you know what I mean? You could have done something to like, as you were trying to dunk on the draft boosters, to maybe make them a little bit more desirable. But like, you had the ability to put whatever cards you want in any pack.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You could have put the 1 of 1 ring in the Lord of the Rings draft packs.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You were like, no, I want to put them in the $25 packs.
Obviously.
So, like, it is. So all of these are just like, we were trying to figure out the best possible way to extract your money from you.
Yep.
I had I have a colleague who is from Italy,
mm-hmm.
and then lived in Canada, and I took her to a conference a while back, and we were in a McDonald's drive-through for breakfast. And I was like, well, what do you want? She's like, I've never had McDonald's before. She'd never been in a drive-through before.
No.
I like ordered the food, and I went around.
They have Timmy Hortons in Canada.
I assume so. and she was like marveling at the setup, and I was like, yeah. So pretty much the American system is set up to separate you from your money in the most efficient method possible.
Yes.
So I talk to I talk into this speaker, I go around and someone takes my money from me, and then they hand me my food. The most efficient way to get the money from me to McDonald's.
Yep.
And I think that set boosters were like, what is the most efficient way that we can get money from you to Chad?
Mm-hmm.
Bro. And they were like, set boosters. And then all the collateral damage, which like was foreseeable,
right? They
were just blinded by dollars.
Yep. Record profits, carrying the rest of the company.
So we can't. So they couldn't just be like, YOLO, we're gonna get rid of draft boosters, and now you draft with set boosters.
Yep.
Because of, well, one, they were only 12 cards. For reasons. They're $1 more a pack for 3 less cards.
Mm-hmm.
And like you talked about, there's no color balance. Right. And then they basically didn't have very many commons and uncommons in them. So they said that
because they're not as exciting to open as rares are. So they soup up the packs with all these like super duper special treatment slots or whatever, and they come at the cost of the commons, which are like the bread and butter of your draft format.
So a draft booster, as we all know and love, is 10 commons, 3 uncommons, and a rare or mythic.
Yep.
And then set boosters were 3 to 6 commons, 3 to 6 uncommons, and 1 to 4 rares or mythics. So, and then they also like had like list slots and like,
whatever else,
other random other things. So you had a pack that like didn't have enough cards to draft, was collated to some degree, and had the wrong ratio of cards.
Yep.
And so they decided that what they were going to do to like unify back to one product was smash set boosters and draft boosters together.
Yep. So in a set booster, the breakdown is going to change a little bit from both draft booster, or I'm sorry, in a play booster.
Mm-hmm.
The breakdown is going to change a little bit from what's in a draft booster and from what's in a set booster, and it's going to be somewhere in the middle. So instead of 10 commons, there's going to be between 1 and 7. There's going to be at least 6 commons. So the first 6 slots in the pack are going to be commons. And then the 7th card is either going to be a common or a list card. And I don't believe this was in the article, but I did read this somewhere else, that they're changing the list as well. And the list is going to be... Oh, it is in there?
So the list has been mostly reprints of older cards. Play boosters are going to tinker with exactly what's on the list. For example, Play Booster Primer, the list will premiere. The list will include what we call special guests, 10 cards that are exciting reprints that will give new art and will be thematically tied to whatever set we're in. And then they'll change the special guest, whatever. In addition to special guests, there will be 40 cards that are reprints without new art. Of those, 30s will be commons or uncommons, and 10 will be rares or mythics. So they're basically cutting down the list from 300 cards to
50.
Effectively 50. You're going to have the 10 special guests plus the 40 list cards.
Yeah.
Which is like good because I definitely have like some list cards.
Yeah.
That I'm like, this is just bulky garbage. Like, why did you put this in my pack?
Exactly.
I don't understand. So like it will hopefully make the list stuff a little bit more desirable.
Yeah, and the list is going to be the same like distribution. So like 3 per box ish. It's going to be the same like percentage to get a list card as it was.
Yeah, so 7 out of 8 packs will be a common.
Yeah.
But in every 8th pack you will get a card from the list. So if a box is 36 packs,
yeah,
you should get 4.5 a pack.
Yeah. Okay.
Or a box.
Yep. So after that 7th slot that is either a common or a list card, slot 8, 9, and 10 are all uncommons. So we're sticking with 3 uncommons, which is good for draft. That's the number that we've always had. The 11th card is going to be a rare or mythic. The 12th card is going to be basic land, and this can be either a normal land or whatever their special edition booster fun fancy frame whatever land is going to be.
Yeah.
The 13th card is going to be a non-foil wild card. And this not like arena wild cards. This is something from the set, but non-foil. So it could be a common, an uncommon, or a rare from the set in non-foil.
You cut out there a second. It could be a common, an uncommon, or a rare, or a mythic.
Yeah.
Any rarity,
or a mythic. Yep.
Yeah.
And then the 14th slot is going to be a foil wild card. So exactly the same as the wild card slot, but this card is always going to be in foil.
Yes.
Again, anything from the set, but always in foil. And then the last card in the slot is non-playable. So it'll either be a token card, an art card, or a signed art card. So they're sticking with the art card thing from the set boosters because evidently people want those. Or it could be a token. Yep, there you go.
So desirable.
Yeah. So we'll talk about all of this, but I have a question that's not in the show notes that I just thought of about this non-playable card. What happens when we do double-faced cards that need checklists? Then we
need what?
Checklists?
Oh, so they have in here that it could be it could be a token, a play aid, which would be a checklist card. I do believe. an ad card or an art card. If it's a token or play aid, it will also often have an ad on the back, assuming the play aid isn't double faced.
Okay.
So I think that it would just kind of be like in that slot, even
Okay.
though it would have a magic back.
Yeah.
So, all right. Um,
So
you may have. Oh, go ahead.
I think I was just going to say the same thing that you did. If you notice, we talked about 15 slots in a pack, but only 14 of them are magic cards. Because
Yes,
that's all you get now.
you get 14 cards.
Yep.
And then I think that like the vast majority of players will just throw away.
Yeah.
I guess there is some market for the art cards, but like the art cards like have no secondary market value or very little.
Yeah.
So I don't know who's hyped for these. It seems like one of those things that like you open a pack and don't want your art card, and then I want art cards, and you just go, take these.
Right.
I do not wish to have them in my home. And so there's no secondary market because the people who have them do not value. The people that open them don't value them, and there's only a small fraction of the people that do value them.
So the way this breaks down, are we drafting every basic now?
So technically, you were supposed to draft the basics before.
Yeah.
And I know that.
Yeah, but I think like a lot of people, if it was just a regular basic in the pack, a lot of people didn't draft them, right?
Yeah, I think that like we even went through that phase. Remember when we were like all hyped that they reprinted the full art lands in like BFZ?
Yeah.
And like we would take the land out because we're like, oh, this is gonna be so valuable.
Yeah.
I'll be so tempted to take the land over like an actual card.
Right.
And now like they're 10 cents or 20 cents or something. I mean, I have a lot of them. I have a lot of dimes, but I guess we're drafting every basic.
Yeah.
And like on some level that doesn't matter. Right? Like if everyone's drafting a basic, no one is.
Right.
Right, it's not going in your deck.
Right.
So basically instead of 14 like actual magic cards, you're going to have
13.
13. I wonder. So like in one of like when you draft on Arena, well no.
There's no basic.
Yeah, but they had like the window was set up for 16, right? It was 4 rows of 4.
Okay.
So like you always start with a blank spot, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So like this doesn't even like make the like Arena interface better.
Right.
Right. Like imagine if it was like 12 cards, you could do like 3 rows of 4 or 4 rows of 3 and like make the cards a little bigger or something.
Yeah.
For the draft, like this doesn't even like do that.
Well, so talking about the numbers, evidently Wizards did a whole bunch of research and about limited when they were talking about redesigning this stuff.
Okay.
And one of their conclusions was that a problem with limited was that players were disappointed that they didn't play every card that they drafted.
I mean, people are allowed to be bad at limited.
Well, I mean, you don't. Well, you mean people can play every card that they drafted if they want to?
Or like
you're never going to play a 45 card deck with no basics.
You're not going to play a 45 card deck. You're also not going to like I'm blue green and I got a last pick black card. Like, are you sad about that?
Evidently, yes. That's why they chose to change the number of cards in a pack down to 14.
Like, I feel as though if you're sad about like not playing your like off color like grizzly bear, you are bad at limited.
Yeah.
You're allowed to like so basically we're going from having 42 cards in our pool, like discounting the land,
right,
to this is 30, I guess it's only 39.
39, yeah.
Which I guess isn't like a travesty. But like that doesn't really move the needle on like I'm not playing all the cards I drafted.
It I mean, according to Wizards, it does. Because this was a problem that they needed to fix. That's why they changed it to 14 cards. Again, fixing problems that don't need fixing.
Yeah, and like we did 15 packs because that's what Richard Garfield did in Alpha. 15 card packs. That's what Richard Garfield did in Alpha, and it's like that seemed to work. And so, was it players? Okay, one of the reasons we went down in commons and set boosters was addressing a common complaint from players that there were too many cards that didn't get used. Like, so now you're gonna have 17 cards that you didn't like put in your deck because they were the wrong color or not good, versus 20.
Did you see my note under this section? I feel like this is just marketing jargon. So they can, like when they roll out, I guess it's Murder at Markov Manor or whatever.
Yeah.
When they roll it out, they can put, splashy graphics on the product. New product, foil in every pack because you get one now. And now with 7% less waste because you're one card short.
or new draft experience.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Yeah, it does. It does feel very like jargony, or like we have to come up with a reason why we're shorting people a card.
Right.
Because in theory, the cost, like the art cards are a like cheaper card stock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right?
but they're glossy though, which is a more expensive printing process.
Like again, I guess there's a market for these things. Yeah. That doesn't make sense to me. Like we got 15 cards, so we were at a point where it was 15 cards plus the ad,
right,
or the token, and now we went from 16 pieces of paper to 15 pieces of paper, and instead of cutting out the piece of paper that was cheap that no one wanted, they cut out a playable game piece, which just seems like awkward.
Well, I don't know. Like, I don't mean to like harp on this because it's ultimately you're missing a common or two commons or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a huge deal. I don't really care that, I'm not going to get that last Summit Prowler. But like the theme of this is Wizards fixing things that weren't broken to start with that they broke. Yeah. And this just feels like another thing that didn't need fixing. I don't really care either way. Like that.
Yeah, like
as far as your draft goes, you're never going to miss that last card. You're still going to have a last pick that is sometimes going to be the card that you need, and sometimes it's going to be worthless. Like it doesn't matter if it's card 14 or 15. I don't really think. It's just I don't know.
Well, we're fixing a problem that didn't need fixing. Like, oh man, 15 cards versus 14 cards.
Yeah.
But then there's another problem that people have brought up, which is imagine being the person that opens, you're playing in Pod. It's the World Championships.
Mm-hmm.
You open a pack and it has 4 rares.
Yeah, that's
and you
in my notes here.
Rare, you take your rare, and the person beside you either took an uncommon or common that like rates better than a rare, and then you're passing them a rare. Mm-hmm. Right? You get the choice of the best rare. Right, but now you're passing them a card that is presumably powerful, and then they're passing the next person an extra rare, right? And you're like, oh man, I opened the 4 rare pack, and I just got completely and totally wrecked.
Yeah.
So, like, I think that...
Like, there's another part of that, too, though, because this is going to make reading packs infinitely more difficult.
Oh, yeah, because, like, did they... Well... I guess because like you don't know, you
don't know if they picked a Renin 6 or a Summit Prowler for their 7th slot. You don't know. True. You don't know if they picked the rare or what their bonus wild card was.
Yeah. Right. Like if they got it, like
You
Yeah,
have
it
like
is gonna
if
make
they
it
pick
harder.
their foil, you have no idea if that was a rare or not.
I mean, the foil that's kind of the same, right? Like if you got a foil rare.
Well, right, but like there wasn't a foil in every pack.
True. True.
There was a handful per box.
Yeah. So like there's gonna be that. I saw some people and I kind of agree that like on some level, like this probably flattens out limited a little bit. Right? It probably removes some skill.
Yes.
Right? Because, you know, the like they said that like R&D doesn't think that the extra rares are gonna impact stuff. I've seen the rares that R&D has designed.
Right.
There are
Well, I've seen the limited environments that R&D threw extra rares into.
yeah, there's that. But like the number of rares that like your opponent plays, and like if you don't have a removal spell, well, one, if they resolve, they may get value.
Yeah.
Right? And if they stay on the board for 2 turns, they get so much advantage, it doesn't matter if you remove it anymore, you're just dead.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like again, the 3-drop fairy that whenever you attack, you get to like loot and then put a +1/+1 counter on something.
Yeah.
Right. Like if your opponent goes 2-drop into that and they attack twice, you pretty much lost the game.
Right.
Like, oh man, my removal spell dealt 4 damage and they made their thing a 3/5. I can never kill it now.
Yep.
I guess I'm dead.
Basically.
Right. So there's so many rares that snowball.
Mm-hmm.
That the more of those snowbally rares that are in the pool, the greater chance of like your opponent playing their like having a bomb. And like some people say it won't matter, but I do think that like there are going to be more times that like, LSV has a strong deck and then his opponent just plays like a bomb on turn 4.
Yeah.
And he can't answer it and then loses.
So
A game that like if that was just a common
right.
would not have been an L.
Well, I have another thing kind of related to this whole rare draft scenario. Well, 2 things actually. The first goes back to what you had initially said about being at Worlds and drafting. This is going to make, especially for like newer players that are trying to build a collection, which at the LGS level is what draft is for. This is going to just lead to feel bads. Because that new player is going to open their pack and be like, oh, this sweet shiny card that like, this is a card I want for my collection. I'm not in these colors. This is going to train wreck my draft, but I'm taking it. Or this really good uncommon that's going to, make my deck good and make me win is not the $15 card that's in this pack or one of the 2 $8 cards that are in this pack.
Mm-hmm.
There's just more chance for feel bads when you have 4 chances of a rare.
Like remember there were definitely times where like we'd be doing a draft and someone opened like some like ridiculous pack and it'd be like, I'm gonna drop. Right. I'm not gonna pass this pack.
Yep.
Right? And it's like, okay, you just like ruined a draft or like go buy another pack kind of deal.
Right.
Right? Because like if you're trying to build your collection and you open a pack that has 3 rares, do you want to pass the 2 rares?
No.
Right, and then you feel like there's the issue with rare drafting, like even now, right? Even with like the one, right? Where you're like, oh, I'm gonna take the $10 card and that I can't play, right? But it's worse when it's like, oh, there are 3 $10 cards.
Yeah.
Oh man, and I think that something that we may have to consider is, are there still going to be $10 cards?
Well, so
think about what
that's the next part. Remember I said there was 2 parts?
Mm-hmm.
That's the next part. Is part of this article, they said that they had to change the way that they design sets to incorporate play boosters. That's why it's not starting right away. It's going to be in Murder at Markov Manor or whatever. Yeah. If they don't change the number of rares per set, this makes every rare less rare when you can open 4 rares in every single booster pack.
rares. So you're guaranteed 3 uncommon, right? If like I, I'm sure we could go through and do the math, right? And I don't feel like it. But so um you can probably get somewhere in the neighborhood of your rares approaching some of like started to become like roughly uncommon rarity.
Well, like they used to do U1, U2, U3.
Yes.
We are somewhere in that neighborhood now where,
Yes. Where
your R was it R3 or U3 was the least uncommon, whatever. But
yes.
the gap between the two is narrowing.
Yeah, we're shrinking the gap between rare and uncommon,
Right.
which again, from a I'm buying singles point of view,
Mhm.
is good.
Right.
From an I'm buying packs point of view, is bad.
And
Right?
I mean, to be determined on from a limited point of view, but
Yeah, like would it surprise me if in 2 years they were like going back to the original booster because so many people were like draft sucks now. This is really no good. Blah 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 blah. Like it would not surprise me at all
yeah.
because like they're in a way they're train wrecking draft,
Mhm.
right? And like uh also like though uh to get a rare a rare normal a rare or mythic normal reprint from the list in slot 7
Mhm.
um only happens 1.56% of the time. So the odds of you getting a you know 12 rare sealed pool,
Right. Astronomical.
astronomical.
Yeah.
But it's gonna happen,
Yeah.
right? Like again, not that there are GPs anymore,
Right.
but like you do an arena open and you just like have like 15 rares plopped in front of you and you're just like, oh,
Yeah. Can't ever
I
beat
guess I'm
that.
like I guess I have 4 color good stuff
Yeah.
and like all my good stuff is busted.
Yeah.
Like my cards are fixing and rares. And there we go.
Yeah.
We have a deck, ladies and gentlemen. See, it is weird that like on one hand they're doing this to save draft
Yeah.
by fundamentally changing draft. Like it's no longer the draft that we did um 5 years ago.
Mhm.
And I mean maybe the Strixhaven Mystical Archives and then the like Brothers War stuff was kind of like slowly easing us into
Oh yeah.
like
We're the
the list.
frogs, and that's our pot of boiling water.
Yeah, just slowly. We
Yeah.
don't even notice it
Yeah.
because, like, the LR guys are like, "Oh, like I love the bonus sheets. They're so great because, if you do 50 drafts, like the fact that you like might see a card you might get to play it with a card you've not seen played,
Yeah.
or something is really interesting, but it really kind of throws like traditional draft on its head.
Yeah.
And maybe they have data that like the bonus sheet sets more, people do more drafts of them
Maybe.
right on Arena.
You mentioned something about sealed a minute ago, and
Mm-hmm.
I specifically had a question about sealed that I wanted your input on. Sealed is, I think, generally regarded as like an inferior limited format to
Mm-hmm.
most people. It's more random. The decks aren't as powerful. The decks aren't as cohesive. The themes don't come together as well. It's more up to chance because it's way
Yes,
more dependent on your sealed pool than like you being a good limited player. Um,
we have both driven 6 hours to play in a sealed GP and opened garbage and been
yes.
like, I wasted $100 and 12 hours of driving
Yep.
to be in this event to open like
And 2 nights
to
in
have
a
my best.
hotel. Yeah.
Yeah, to have my best rare be Kambal, authority of the console,
Yeah.
and just be like, well, this sucks.
Yeah. So what does basically like these packs? You mentioned having the mythical, like, what was it, 24 rare sealed pool or whatever?
Yeah, that's yeah.
Like, what does having a pack like this as your sealed pool do for sealed? Like, I mean, it's got to like exacerbate the problems with sealed, right?
I
It's going to
agree.
make it
Like,
incredibly swingy. Your delta between like what's possible and worst case is huge, and nobody has any idea where you're going to fall in that.
yeah, like
It's not something you can control.
you have no control over it. And now I guess like there are way fewer like high level sealed
I
events.
wasn't even talking about high level. I meant like pre-release. Like you show up to pre-release with a bunch of like pre-release is supposed to be for new players to like get their hands on the set. It's a good time to get into Magic because everybody's learning blah 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 blah. That's what
Oh,
it's geared towards. It's not meant for like the grinders, right? Even
and
though
then
a lot of grinders at our store did show up, but
yeah. What
like
was that again?
I said, even though at our store a lot of grinders did show up, like
Yeah,
pre-release isn't meant for the grinders. Um,
yeah. And then you just spend like the weekend getting dumpstered by like sealed pools that are just like unbelievable.
Yeah, or like you play two back to back and you open an incredible sealed pool and are undefeated, and then the next one you open like doesn't even contain a playable deck compared to like what the average sealed deck is now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it does it does increase the variance, which, right, like on one hand is a feature of Magic, right? Like the best players in the world still lose 30 to 40% of their matches,
Right.
right? It's not like, playing one-on-one against LeBron James where you lose 100% of the games every time.
Right.
There's like there's a skill element, but there's also the variance of bad draws and, you know, my pod, like just being in the wrong seat in the pod,
Yeah.
or not opening the best possible sealed pool. But like I don't know, like kind of like my understanding of like Pokemon is there's like a lot of coin flipping and like random chance kind of things,
Mhm.
and like we complained about like not wanting that in the form of dice rolling
Right.
and stuff, and now we've put the dice in like what 3 packs you get handed
Mhm.
when you do your draft, or like what 6 packs get opened when you like do your sealed.
Yeah.
So you're like the dice rolling is less in your face, which might be better for wizards,
Mhm.
right? Because people are bad at statistics and math in general
Right.
as like
Yes.
a group. So we're just like, oh, like I guess I got a little unlucky, and you don't like put it together as like, oh, well, actually, I got unlucky because of
Right.
these changes to how we do the product.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think it really changes limited because you are they are still going to design cards that are going to have a place in modern,
Mhm.
that uh, are going to entice commander players to buy these products,
Right.
right? So like, you know, we've had for the last, I don't know, last 4 years an issue where like 7 mana is the new 5 mana
Yeah.
in standard,
For sure.
right? So like they're still gonna keep printing Atraxas and like things at 7 mana that like from 2017 sensibilities are uncastable in a 60 card format only for commander cards,
Right.
that are like turn 5 plays that like warp your entire standard format around them. Heck,
Yeah.
we have 2 of them in standard right now.
Yeah.
And so um you're just gonna have more situations where like someone has an Atraxa and an Atali in their sealed pool.
Mhm.
And like then they're just like, I guess I'm green, and I guess I play every red spell, and I guess I hope that I draw one of these and win the game when I resolve it.
Yeah, I didn't like when I was talking about sealed. I didn't even mean like the delta between the best deck possible with 20 rares in it versus like worst deck possible. I just meant like variance from what the average sealed pool is going to be.
Like if the average sealed pool today is a 5,
Mm-hmm.
the average sealed pool in comparison for Murder at Markov Manor might be a 6 or a 6.5.
Yeah.
Right? And now if the whole average moves up, I think that's fine, right? Like it's kind of like fire design on some level where like we made the cards more interesting and more powerful at lower rarity, so like all the draft and all the sealed decks got better than they were before.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But like I think that you just have like I think that's fine, right? If like you just move the average up for everyone, right? If everyone plays a 6,
Yeah.
but I think there's going to be more times where someone gets a 10.
Yeah.
And like you're like I have a pretty good deck. And then like you just get
dumpstered,
steamrolled.
Like
and
Glory,
it doesn't
that pool that had Glorybringer and the fight trial, and then the guy denied it.
And Ronus.
Yeah, and Ronus, yeah.
And he twice went like Ronus into Glorybringer, and then I mentioned it to him on day 2, and he went, "Oh, that only happened like once." I said, "My buddy said it happened on back-to-back games." And he was like, "No. He had no incentive to lie." But okay, I will like drop this.
Yeah.
But like if you ended up with, like we've all like had the really good pool that is like 9 rares,
mm-hmm.
and maybe you could only play 5 of them, but you had the choice of 9 rares.
Right. You got to pick half of the rares you opened.
Right. And instead of half being 3, half got to be 5.
Right.
Right. And I think there's going to be more times in sealed where there's now going to be more of those 9, 10 rare pools, and the person that gets the 6 rare pool is going to run into way more people that have 10 rare pools.
Yeah.
Which is just be like, oh, like that wasn't cool. And like you're also like on Arena, you're not going to know.
Correct.
Right? Like they're not going to like lay out their deck afterwards and still be like, I still had all Ds. Right? Or like, oh yeah, or like, hey, my pool was really good. Like I had like 4 more rares in my board that I couldn't play.
Yeah.
Right? And then sometimes you see that and you just kind of like shrug and you're like, okay, like
them's the breaks.
Yeah, that happens. But if that happens consistently, I think that's going to make people more likely to be bummed. So it's just really concerning that like their solution was to change a thing that has. So they first changed a thing that worked for like 25, 30 years in the booster, right?
Yep.
And now they're like, yeah, we've had draft like this since Mirage.
Basically, yeah.
Let's so that we can keep selling more expensive packs, let's mess with this thing that like has been good for us for 20 years.
Yeah.
So it just, I don't know. It's worrisome that is like the solution, is just like there are no sacred cows.
Oh no, definitely not.
Which, some people be like, well, that's good that they're trying things. And it's like, if you've been a game for 30 years...
Did you play with companions?
Yes. Yes. like
is it good they're trying things?
But if you've been a game for 30 years, right? Like you have like changed, like that has stayed pretty consistent. Like the card design has changed, but like the fundamentals of one type of pack.
Mm-hmm.
And here's this thing called draft, and we do it this way, and this is how it works. Right? Like to then like start changing that stuff again, seemingly for a cash grab, is like not the best.
Yeah. I got one more thing I wanted to mention before we call this a show. Okay. And it's also about an inferior limited format.
Okay.
What happens with Chaos Draft? Like you can't mix and match 14 card packs and 15 card packs.
If your earlier argument holds that your last card doesn't matter.
Well, no, I didn't mean as far as building your deck. I meant as far as having a functional draft. Like a chaos draft where you grab like 3 random packs out of a trash bag and draft them.
Like, no, but what I mean is the person who gets like screwed and doesn't get a last pick, right? If that person ends up with 44 cards as opposed to 45 or 40, you know what I mean? Does that really matter?
It doesn't. I don't think it does. But as far as having a functional draft, I think it does matter. Because how many drafts have you been in where the packs got messed up and like they weren't kept in order, and like that was with all packs from the same set that had the same number of cards in them. Now all of a sudden
it makes
you're
it harder to go back and count.
Yeah. Or just like that happens and nobody notices, and then all of a sudden, you know, whatever. Like who gets screwed, or like do you even? And I get it. Chaos draft is, you know, fun with friends. It's not competitive or whatever, but like, so the fix is to only draft sets from pre-2024 for your chaos draft, or only sets post 2024 for your chaos draft.
Yeah, I think that you just kind of have to, like, if it gets messed up.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, you just have someone who like is really big on enforcing zone drafting.
Yeah.
And just like with a ruler and just whack someone's fingers if they move it, or a rolled up newspaper and they just whack someone if they like move it to the wrong zone.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that what it comes down to is they don't care.
No, I don't think they do. I just thought it was funny, and I don't know if anybody had thought of that yet, so I was throwing it out there.
No, PK mentioned in his video too. Like, let's do the chaos draft. Yeah. Now, we've done all this talking about this, and we've glossed over a very important point.
What point's that?
A play booster is going to be the same price as a set booster.
Yeah.
Which means we've had a stealth price increase to draft.
Yep.
Because, you know, now instead of the packs being, what are they, like $4 now for our draft booster?
Yeah. They're
like $5 or $5.50.
Yeah, I don't really. I mean, it's been such a while since I've been in our LGS. I don't remember what they were selling a set booster for. I want to say they were like $5 or $6, right?
Yeah. And you know, Morrow even admits this. He has a like, a hypothetical question from like the reader.
Mm-hmm.
Will playing limited events cost more? Likely, yes. Play boosters match the cost of set boosters, not a draft booster, which will result in limited environments going up in cost slightly.
Yeah.
Like, up in cost by like 20%.
Mm-hmm.
However, the expected value of the booster went up as well because there are opportunities to pull additional rares and mythics. Now, again, if you are putting more rares and mythics into the world, the cost of the average rare or mythic goes down in price.
Correct. Supply and demand.
Yes. So I don't know if you can automatically say that we're increasing the EV of a pack by doing this, because...
Well, if you're working off the assumption that every card that's not a rare or a mythic is worthless, then I guess it kind of does.
But like, how many rares are...
Well, no, like, it does because people are bad at statistics.
True. They're like, oh, I have a chance for 4 rares.
Right. I'm only going to pull 1, but I have a chance at pulling 4.
Yeah. And then you also have the problem of like so the vast majority of packs are going to have
1 rare.
Oh, 1 rare.
Yeah.
I thought you were telling me to stop.
No,
That's
no.
why I stopped talking.
I was drinking and saying 1 rare.
Yes. Yeah, the vast majority of packs are going to be effectively a draft booster.
Mm-hmm. With 1 less card.
That costs you an extra $1 or $2.
Yeah.
And also, like, how many rares now are just bulk?
Oh, yeah. And, like,
right?
We don't know, like I mentioned with them changing the way that they design sets, how many rares are even in a set. which means that there's like a higher, if there's more rares going to be in a set, there's going to be more bulk rares in general. And then on top of that, having them, thrown at you more rares in a pack is going to mean even more bulk rares.
Yeah, like if you pay $5 for a pack and you hit the God 4 mythic pack or 4 rare pack or whatever, and you open 4 quarters, you're
Right.
still down $4 on your $5 pack.
Yeah.
Right? You did not like come out better. So like the idea that like, oh, they're gonna be worth more is like not great. And then again, to steal from a PK video, right? We're looking at this at like through in a very American lens, right? As we are American.
Last I checked.
Yes, I could be president.
No comment.
Apparently, some Brazilian players reached out to him.
Yeah,
and were like, "This might kill draft in Brazil because there are so many people that like are just barely able to scrape by the money they need to do a draft each week."
Yeah, well, that's like a whole nother thing. I don't know how much, like when we were drafting at our local game store, I don't know how much you paid attention to some of the behind the scenes stuff, but draft had always been $15. That's how much a draft was. If the owner hadn't raised prices of boosters, I don't think ever. Like they were always $4 from the time I came back to Magic in like 2014 to when I stopped playing Magic, during the pandemic or whatever. They were $4 that entire time. Even through like multiple price increases from Wizards of the Coast, like he kept the price at $4. He also kept the price of draft at $15, which means if you do the math there, 3 times 4 is 12. $3 went into price support. Every time Wizards upped the price, he took that. Like there was still $3 in price support.
He ate the difference.
He ate it. Yeah. Technically, like at the end there, he was, quote, losing money on every draft he ran, because I mean he gave out more than $3 a head in price support.
Yeah. I mean, I also remember the people that would like draft and then immediately sell their cards.
Yep.
To try to like finance the next draft.
Yep.
Or like I only have this much, I'll give you whatever I open, kind of deal. Where like I've got $10 and I'll just give you the cards. I'll give you a $5 card if I open it, or like just give you all the rares I open, kind of deal.
Yeah. So a couple things. Number one, I'm interested because it's been a while since I drafted in an LGS. To our listeners,
in an LGS, yeah.
Oh, sorry, did I cut out there?
Yeah.
To our listeners, if you're drafting at your LGS, hop into Discord, send us an email, get a hold of me somewhere. Let me know how much your LGS is charging for a draft. I'm interested to know, like currently. And then, like, what's this going to be after the price goes up $1 a pack? Like, I mean, are we looking at like a baseline $25 draft?
My first thought was baseline like $20.
Yeah.
Right. If the pack goes like to
$5 a pack and then $5 in price support.
Well, $5 a pack, $2 to some sort of rake.
Yeah.
And then $3 in price support. I mean, there's some LGSs that only do packs as price support.
Yeah.
Which I guess is money for price support, but like,
right,
less than like doing what is it called? Store credit.
Store credit.
Right, like you're actually people are actually being separated from their right. Because if it's $20, right, and like whatever, there's 8 people, and let's see, you give it like 8 packs in prize support for that like pod, however that breaks down. Like at that point, like you're just selling an extra pack to everyone,
right?
But yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised if it ended up being $20, and then what happens to sealed, right? Yeah. Sealed, like pre-release already went up to like it was $25, then it was $30. Is it gonna be $35 or $40 to do a pre-release?
Yeah, by the time you factor in price support, yeah.
So like
That's not
again,
really
like,
accessible for a new player, is it?
I mean, it comes back to I have a finite amount of time
Mhm.
and money to participate in leisure and hobby activities.
Yep.
I can go do 2 pre-releases, or I can buy Starfield.
Right.
I can go do 2 pre-releases, or I can like go to like dinner and a movie
Mhm.
for the same cost.
Yep.
And like before, like $20 was, not nothing, but not like the end of the world. Like
Right.
you weren't approaching like half a video game. That was still like a third of like a $60 game.
Yeah.
And now it's like, when it got to $30, it's like, okay, now you're kind of in that like ballpark. But I don't know, like 220s is like mentally feels like a lot more.
Sure does. I mean, I don't know if they raised the price of Commander decks, but that's a Commander Precon.
Oh no, 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 no. Oh, you dear sweet summer child.
Yeah, they went up.
They're like $80 to $100.
Holy moly, really?
So some of the recent ones were MSRPing for like 100. I think the Doctor Who ones are 80.
Well, those are like I meant like a normal release. Those are like a premium product or whatever.
I think they're
Like how much were the
look at Amazon.
I
Amazon.com.
mean, it's hard now because like there is no MSRP anymore. So
MTG Commander deck. So okay, the Doctor Who ones are some of them are like 50. They have a starter commander deck, which is like 23, but then like
no, they're set of 5
okay.
is 140, so they're like $35 or whatever.
There's been some recently that are upwards of 80.
Yeah, some of the some of the premium ones, like the Warhammer ones, I know were super expensive. So
Oh, here
like
you
some
go.
of the premium stuff was, but like I was just
The
talking like a normal release.
March of the Machines, commander deck, cavalry charge. List price was 75. Now it's 66 on Amazon. For like a March of the Machines.
I mean,
Lord of
that's not really what I meant though, because like there is no MSRP anymore, right?
True.
So like what's happening with, I don't know if you know this or not, but what's happening with commander decks is that they come in a brick. You get like one of each deck in a brick, and then the store splits the brick and then sells the decks or whatever. So if there's one that's really desirable, it works just like, rare distribution in a pack does. If there's one deck that's desirable, that soaks up a higher portion of whatever the brick costs, and the other ones get cheaper.
Gotcha.
Because there's no MSRP anymore. When there was MSRP, the brick, you'd split it, and each deck was worth a fourth of whatever the brick was. So it like right here on Amazon, I see the brick of commander decks is 136, so they're like $35 a piece.
Okay.
For the set of 4.
But like, again, like I know they're a premium product.
Yeah.
But and this is probably the more desirable one, but the Eldrazi one from Commander Masters.
Yeah.
$89.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, like I could get an entire commander deck that I could play for a period of time, or I could do 3 rounds of sealed.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, 3 rounds of sealed, you're approaching like a standard deck.
Well, no, I mean like I could do.
3 rounds
3
of sealed,
games.
not 3 sealeds. Yeah,
not 3 seals, like 3 rounds. Like I could play in this pre-release.
Yeah.
For $35.
Yeah.
Or I could buy a commander deck and in theory have it for as long as I want.
Yeah.
A period of time, yeah. So no, like it'll be interesting like how many people are gonna get squeezed on drafts and like squeezed out of drafts.
Well, you want to talk about one more squeezing before we wrap it up?
Sure.
What about the price of a booster box?
uh 36 packs at like $4.55 a pack.
Yeah, that was something that they didn't mention in the article there, is that, well, they said that the obviously for a draft product, there's going to be 36 packs in a box. They did say that, but what they didn't say is they have kind of, like we said, they squished set and draft boosters together. They kept the price of the set boosters, but brought the pack number up from the draft boosters. So you end up with a booster box that's $40 more.
Yeah, so like a booster box is gonna be like 180.
Yeah.
Which is so much.
How much was a booster box when you came back to the game?
You get them for like 80 or 90.
Uh-huh.
Like then they kind of went up to like 100.
Yeah.
And then like Amazon came in and they went back down to like 80 or 90. So yeah, I don't know. Like I don't know how this like it is very clearly like this is going to save them money in production costs. It's going to save them money in inventory management. It's going to save them like all this money in terms of like just their logistics,
shipping.
Yeah. And then on top of that, they are the 20-30% of product that they were selling at a discount. They've eliminated, and they're selling at a higher price, and they're putting one less card in than the discounted product. Right? And again, like,
to be fair though, like that one card that they're shorting you, they are increasing the production price of the pack between the art card and the guaranteed foil in every pack. So
yeah, but I'm just saying, like,
from somebody that has printed cards, like those two things matter. Like they add up.
But no, it's just that they are like they're just like stealth increasing the price and maybe giving you more, maybe like not, but like they are just increasing the price. Like this is the third or fourth major like price increase.
Yeah.
Since like 2020. Right, they got on the something supply chain like tip. And then I think they did like one more.
Yeah. I do have one more comment or whatever before we wrap it up here. All of these things that we have talked about in this episode relate to play boosters in paper.
Yes.
I think the only place that benefits from this change is Arena, because the price isn't changing.
Yes, the price is going to stay the same. You're going to get more rares.
Yeah.
You're still going to have the same, like, you know, the same limited concerns about, like, how does it limited change. But, like,
yeah, like those were concerns, though. We don't know that it's going to ruin limited.
Yeah.
Those are just...
Yeah, but you're going to have more... You're going to have a chance to get more rares for your collection. Which is the bottleneck on Arena.
It also means that there's going to be list cards on Arena.
Huh. I guess. I wonder what... They have to have two separate lists.
I don't know. That's weird.
Like, yeah, like... You can't put, like... Fury. Like, just random, like, old cards.
Blightsteel like, Colossus.
Yeah, like, I think the... Like...
Red and 6.
It makes Historic way more interesting. It's like, hey, here's this card that's 22 years old, then here's a card that, like, makes you do the hokey pokey, and then 6-8 of them in your deck. And you're just like, I did that. Yeah, I guess the list thing, but I mean, I guess the whatever slot has the extra sheet has effectively done the same thing, and it has worked. But yeah, so I'm guessing that they're gonna have to be a little bit more careful with what's on the list.
Well, I mean, they can
of, like,
be when
mechanics.
it's only 40 cards.
Yeah, in terms of mechanics and stuff.
Yeah.
I guess another thing, as we're going like super long, this is an old timey episode. Another thing is if a card gets on the list,
Mhm.
I think its price is gonna like plummet.
Oh yeah.
Right. This is another reason to be like, maybe I should like get off of. Maybe you should like consider getting off of non-reserve list stuff.
Yeah.
In the pre-show, I talked about the I had Cavalier of Thorns when whatever Magic 20
Mhm.
M20 was a set, but I got rid of them. And then when Mono Green became like the deck and Pioneer, card went to like $20.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm not gonna buy those because they're $20. And then they made it on the list, and like the old version was 13 and the list version was like 3. And I was like, at $3 I'll buy some.
Mhm.
Right? And that's when there were like 300 cards on the list.
Right.
Right? If there's 40 cards on the list for Murder at Markov Manor, and right, like what is that going to do to the price of like a $10 card they put on the list?
Right.
Right, the list version might like be $1.50, which again, good for me and maybe one day you as a single purchaser.
Yeah.
Right, but really bad for person who buys a pack. Like, oh my gosh, I opened a Cavalier of Thorns. Oh, the list version, that's worth 25 cents.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh.
Like, oh, I thought I had paid for my pack. No, sir. No, sir. So there's a lot. None of this was banned.
It's true.
Sneaky
Clickbait.
weasels. Yeah. So with all of that, unless we have one more thing.
Nope.
With all of that,
That's all
I
of the
think we got a
things.
show.
We got a
I
show.
think we got a show. So if you want to reach out to us and give us your thoughts on the unholy love child between a draft booster and a set booster, reach out to us on Facebook, Discord, Twitter, X. Email, or whatever.
Yep. Links are all down below. Hit us up. Also, let me know about how much drafts cost by you. I'm interested. If you're looking to support the show, real quick, there's 2 ways you can do it. The first is with our TCG player affiliate link, CasualTryHard.com/TCG. Go there, buy stuff. We get a portion of your purchase price. Helps us pay our bills. We would really appreciate it. The second is Patreon, patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG. Sign up, chip a couple bucks in, get access to our show notes, get access to our pre-show. And when I have cool stuff to send out to you guys, I will send it to you. Shoot me your address when you sign up and get some swag. Patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG. We'd appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. So with that, we'll catch you on the internet.
We'll catch you on the internet.